Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPblab. I'm here with Bridget. Bridget, how's it going?
It's going great.
I'm so excited about today's topic. Why? Because I've been doing podcasts for like a zillion years, and I'm just super pumped to talk about this type of stuff. Super
We will
duper pumped.
pump you up.
Now, if hopefully the things that I say are gonna kind of help somebody out there and not confuse them. So we'll see how that goes. Bridget, before we get totally started here, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about where you work, what you do, how you do it, and where you do it.
My name is Bridget Willard. I work at WordPress. I'm the marketing manager. We are the development company for Give, the most robust online donation plugin that exists in the WordPress ecosphere. and we just came out with Facebook Reviews Pro.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. You can see a demo of that at bridgetwillard.com/blog because I am using it. You can find me. Where do I work? 80% of the time I work out of my second bedroom in Dana Point, and the other 20% is a Tuesday in San Diego, where I come and ruin their workflow by being obnoxious and making them take me to lunch.
So the thing that's on your right, the thing that's over on the right sidebar, that's the thing that you're talking about, the one that says like Adam Wayne on there?
If you have a local business page, this is the only kind of Facebook page that accepts reviews. Then you can use our plugin, Facebook Reviews Pro.
So does that mean that Bridget is a local business?
I had to become a local business instead of a blogger because stupid Facebook doesn't let you have reviews unless you're a brick and mortar. So you had to trick it. You had to put in your address, and then you had to take the address out. Or at least, because I don't want people showing up here. Like, that's creepy.
They're like, I hear that you make the words, and supposedly you also press them.
Also, I have a job, so I'm not really a business. But whatever.
Yeah.
Facebook.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think that Devin and crew over there make amazing stuff. We've used their Yelp, yours Yelp thingy, the review thingy over on our what was that? That was our cafe's website, and our cafe's Yelp page. So we pulled in all the data from that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you can get the bundle of 4 plugins for the price of 3 until May 1.
Awesome.
I think I fulfilled all my promotional duties.
I think so. I think at this point they owe me money now, so that's awesome.
Affiliate.
Matt, Devin, I'll send you guys an email, and you'll know what my PayPal is. So let's see here. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about podcasts. I kind of structured this very loosely. How to podcast using WordPress. It could be anything, right? But I also want to help people out. So if you're starting out a podcast, or you've been doing a podcast forever and you kind of want to get some ideas on how to do this, Bridget does a podcast and doesn't even know it. And soon enough here, this will actually become a podcast, not just a YouTube channel. So she will be a podcaster at that point.
Wow.
Yep.
Side.
Yep, exactly. So here's how this works. We're using a website called blab.im, and over on the right-hand side of the screen is a live chat. At the very bottom, you can type in the / and then a Q and then your question, and you can ask your question there. If you don't even know what a podcast is, and you came in here and you're like, oh, I'm a marketing person, and I just got a job, and they want me to build a podcast, what do I do? This is a great place to be because we'll totally talk about that stuff. So again, /Q space your question, and you'll be able to ask a question there.
Oh man, I want to get the props for the flight attendants because you're like the guy who does the narration, and I like girls like click the like button, give us a thumbs up. In the event of a crash.
And what's so cool about this question thing is, look, I hit I hit that. I want to answer my question, and look, my question appears on the bottom there. Isn't that so cool?
That's
So that is
amazing.
exactly how this is going to work. One last thing is Blab is pretty nifty in that you can jump into the hot seat. So if you click on the thing that's right below, I believe it might be right below Bridget and I, click on that link there to jump in. You can jump in and interact and talk with us. So that would be super duper awesome.
Just make sure you got some headphones so we don't have feedback. We don't like
Exactly.
feedback on podcasts.
Yep. And you may want to turn the lights on and whatever it is you got to do. Do all that sort of stuff. All right. So let's kind of start a little bit here. And I'll also put a link in the notes here later on if you want to check those out. I did a talk about podcasts in WordPress and how to get podcasts to work with WordPress and all that. So I'm going to kind of explain from like start to finish what you end up doing with the podcast and how to get it working, since we got a little while to talk about this. And feel free to jump in, chime in, ask us any questions or anything like that. Don't be embarrassed. So what the heck is a podcast? Bridget, do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I listen to the Kitchen Sink, WP. I just started listening to that Mastermind FM with James Laws because he was our guest last week.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, cool new, because it's not super devy.
Right.
And then
do you listen to any that have nothing to do with development, computers, the internet?
Yeah, I listen to James Bonding, but it's over because Spectre came out. The comedy podcast, it's a little rated R. There's a lot of F-bombs, but it's two guys named Matt and Matt. And then they went through every single James Bond movie back to front. So they started with Dr. No, and then the next episode was the one before Spectre, whatever that was.
Okay.
And then they went back for the head guests and stuff like that. But
right.
I was driving an hour each way to work. They don't do that now. So Netflix is mostly my podcasting. Okay, so I write and read all day for work, so I don't want any more talking.
Right.
And I can't listen, like I can't listen to something while I'm editing or writing. I can't listen to the talking. So like when I listen to Pandora, I listen to no lyrics.
Yeah. Well, luckily most songs and most podcasts don't talk in code. So being able to write, right. the underscore content or, some get underscore content or, any of these sorts of whatevers, if statements and all sorts of fun things. You could totally do that in code and listen to podcasts and stuff. So here's kind of the breakdown of a podcast. So podcasts are not YouTube. YouTube is not a podcast. YouTube is not a podcast.
Let's define what if a show isn't a podcast, then let's define what podcasting is.
Yeah, so a podcast is a downloaded file that's stored on your device or streamed to your device, but its intention is to be downloaded and stored, kind of like a DVR would be if CNN gave you a file that you could download and put onto your phone. So they've already recorded the content and you're not listening to it live. It's already been recorded. You're downloading that content onto a device, your computer, a phone, an iPod Touch, whatever. And then once it's downloaded, it all happens kind of automatically using the RSS feed. And we've talked about RSS feeds quite a bit on both WPwatercooler as well as WPblab. But the idea is that it takes that content and then it downloads it onto the device. And when new content gets added, just like if you were using like Feedly or back in the day, Google Reader, that was using RSS to kind of pull in that information. So by saying that, the RSS feed has what is called an enclosure. And an enclosure is that MP3 file or whatever file format the thing is.
A link to the actual file.
Yep, exactly. And so that's hosted elsewhere. It's hosted on your website. It's hosted on a third party, whatever it is, CDN, whatever you want to do. It downloads that file, and then it gets stored onto the device, and you can listen to it and go from there. So the magic of this is that when I'm done recording something and I upload it to my website and I write a blog post and I put the enclosure tag in there for that, that MP3 file, if your device, website, or your device, your iTunes or whatever it is you're using to listen to your podcasts detects that RSS feed's been updated, it then downloads that file, it stores it locally, and makes it available for you to listen to.
Okay.
So that's the kind of the listener side of things here, of getting the consumable content and then listening to it. That's that part of it.
And owning that actual file.
Yeah, it's now downloaded and you have a copy of it, and that's it.
So subscribing to a YouTube channel doesn't count?
Nope, not at all.
You can use YouTube as the recording.
Yep, okay. And that's what we do on WPwatercooler is we actually record using Google Hangout. And like I was talking about here on WPblab, we're going to be doing the same thing. We take this file, we upload it to YouTube. It's all done through Blab's interface. And then it gets stored onto YouTube. Then there's all sorts of ways to do this, and you could ask your the closest 16-year-old near you how to download an MP3 file from YouTube, because they typically do this as a way of quote unquote pirating the MP3 file from an uploaded music, on YouTube. So they'll do like those lyric videos or any of those things. Typically, they'll grab that link and then download the MP3 file using a website. And then it'll download that MP3 file for you, and then you can use it, to do your podcast or whatever. So that's kind of the way that WPwatercooler does it, and to get it to YouTube and then us downloading it from there. We'll be doing the exact same thing here on Blab. What's cool about Blab is Blab will also give you the MP3 file when you're done recording this, so you could totally circumvent the whole,
weirdo pirating thing.
Yeah, exactly. The weird, shady.
So then Blab is almost better if you want to do a purely...
Yeah. If you're not a technophile like me who doesn't mind going through those extra steps, yep, you could totally just... You're done recording, you get an email that says, hey, here's a link to your video file. Here's a link to your, MP3 file. You click on it, download it, and you're done. So you could take your Blab show and turn it into a podcast very easy. And so far, the only part that we've really talked about is taking that MP3 file and then what are you going to do with it?
Right.
So on the WordPress side of things, if you take an MP3 file and link it into your WordPress post, it will make it available as an enclosure. And that's just done automatically.
Oh, really?
That's kind of the cheesy way of going about it, because you don't get any of the cool extra features. Mm-hmm. But if you I want to put an MP3 file on my blog, and if somebody subscribes to the RSS feed, they'll download that MP3 file and you're done.
Yeah, because a million years ago, we were recording the sermons for our outreach, and I hand-coded the
RSS feed. Yeah. The XML feeds, it sucks. It's a big block.
A bit blown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So here's the kind of here's the good and the bad of having your RSS feed through WordPress. So if you have one of these websites that breaks all the time because you like to install things and goof around with it, and you break your website, whenever your website is broken, your RSS feed is going to be broken as well. Because it's dynamically built. It's not like how Bridget was doing, where she was sitting there and making a hand-coded RSS feed. It doesn't work like that at all. It's actually using like a living, breathing, file that gets updated every time you go and load it. It's kind of like going to the front page of your website. So let's see here. So there's a bunch of plugins that you can use to do podcasts in WordPress that will then add additional fields into our RSS feed. So Bridget, if you remember from however long back it was, you had these different parts of the XML file. Mm-hmm. The one in particular is that enclosure file, the enclosure piece where you're putting the URL for it. But then there's other stuff too, like the title of it, the description. Yeah, exactly. The duration, the file size. The date. And you're like, why do I need a duration in the file size? Shouldn't the thing just download? well, actually, there's all these reasons why you need to provide that stuff. And instead of going through all of that and trying to figure out how to do it and me explaining these really great ways of doing it in your computer, the easiest way is to download a plugin called PowerPress. Oh. And that's the one I use.
I'll go favorite it in case I ever have to do that again. I can't believe it.
Yeah, PowerPress, I just put in the show notes there. It's made by a company called Blueberry. And if you want to kind of just like totally skip and circumvent all this stuff that I'm going to have to go through and explain to you in order to do a podcast, you could totally
God, did you see you could pin stuff now?
That's amazing!
Well, habits always changing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, friend. I thought, pin. They integrated with Pinterest. I was going to put this on our board, and it puts it up here. Blab. High five.
Amazing. Yeah, keep that up. So, so PowerPress is made by a company called Blueberry. And Blueberry, Blubrry. This is back in the days of Flickr where there was no E and consonants and vowels and all that fun stuff.
Vowels are so 90s.
Yeah, exactly. So you can take this plugin and install it, and then you're going to load it up and go, oh my goodness, there's a ridiculous amount of things that you can do in here. There's all these different ways of configuring it and changing it. So if you go over to the screenshots that are in there, it kind of explains how all this stuff works. Kind of go through and really read the docs as much as you can about this, because this thing can go pretty deep. The main pieces here that you really want to take care of using this is that you want to make sure you have really good album art. And that's, the specs for this thing keeps changing as, our phones get bigger and bigger and better and better. So if I remember correctly, it was like 4,000 by 4,000 pixels or some ridiculous thing. So some huge file. Might be 2,000 by 2,000. I don't remember. But anyhow, if you get that set up and then also be able to, kind of go through and set up all the other things that are in there through PowerPress, that would be the way to do it.
I just want to start a podcast so I could try that out.
Well, you could totally log in and watch all this stuff on our website and see how it all works.
Are you saying that with this plugin, you can record the audio however you're doing the audio?
Yep.
And then you can put that audio file in, I know WordPress is a database, but you're saying you could literally store it. You don't have to use a CDN.
Right. Yeah, you could totally store it
in your media library.
Mm-hmm.
And then this podcast makes that crazy XML file.
Yep.
This plugin.
Well, WordPress is doing it, and PowerPress is getting these filters that it pushes through to do it. Now, the thing is that hosting those files on your site is probably not the best way to go about it, which is why PowerPress is made by a company called Blueberry, and Blueberry does the hosting for you.
Oh, smart.
Yep. And so by using Blueberry, you even get some additional features, which they'll tell you how many people download the stuff and how many times they've downloaded it and what applications they're using to download or which devices they were downloading. It's super duper awesome. I really like it. I've been using it for quite a few years now, and it's good stuff. There are other companies out there in the chat. I'm seeing a whole bunch of. I love when it's the second I start talking about this stuff, it's like holy war. Like everybody starts coming out of the woodwork, like, oh, I use this thing and it's this other thing and this is the best one to use. Libsyn is another company. They've been around since like the beginning of podcasting, and they're based out of New York, and they do some really, really great work over there. Is it New York? No, not New York. It's a East Coast-ish type company. I can't remember, Philadelphia or something like that. Anyhow, so if you check out them, they have the same type of setup. And what's cool about PowerPress, like I don't host our stuff on Blueberry. I started out when I first started WPwatercooler, when I wanted to turn it into a podcast, I was using PowerPress to do it and using Blueberry as the host. But I was noticing that Blueberry just didn't give me enough kind of geekiness feelings that I needed. The cool things that you could do with this stuff. And so one of the things I wanted to do was host my file in a place that is kind of like YouTube, but for audio. So I actually host my stuff on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. I have
So
SoundCloud.
I upload to SoundCloud, get the URL for the audio file, put it into PowerPress, hit the button. It goes and downloads it, gets it all figured out, figures out how long the file is, what the duration is, what's the file size, does all those things that fills in the blanks for the RSS feed. And then you hit post, and then everyone gets notified that I posted it.
So do you have a pro SoundCloud account?
Yeah. I sure do. Yeah, $10 a month if I remember correctly. But yeah, good stuff. So PowerPress is one of them. There's other plugins out there that do the same type of thing. I'm trying to remember the one that Seriously Simple Podcasting is another one. There's another one called Podlove. I've tried a whole bunch of different ones, but the one that I keep coming back to is the PowerPress one. And I just like it. It just works really well, and it lets you do a whole bunch of really nifty things. So one of those nifty things is you can do what they call category casting. And so you can set a category on your website. Let's say that Bridget has 3 different podcasts, right? She has one that's for her church music type stuff. She has another one that's for, some type of you too can be a guru type thing, and then another one that's maybe this show. Let's just say so. These 3 things, right?
That's pretty much my life.
That's it. I've described the entire thing. So let's say that in your blog,
Twitter, Jesus, and WordPress.
So let's say on your blog you want to have these 3 different categories, right? Mm-hmm. So you could actually use categories in PowerPress to make the podcast separated out from each of those 3 different categories.
Oh.
So now that category is the podcast, and they'll give you your own feed for it and all of that stuff. So now you can have 3 separate feeds and spin up 3 separate podcasts, and you're all good.
That's like the podcast version of custom post types?
It totally is.
Oh my God!
It totally is. Yep, exactly.
Bridget just said custom post types, and she knew what it meant.
Yep.
Remember this in the WPblab history.
So in the chat here, since no one's using the /Q for the questions, I'm kind of digging through some of these here. So James is asking, let's see here. It just makes regular WP posts. Yeah. So that's cool. No problem, James. So the idea is that, yes, you can use a normal post, and it adds a meta box to the post. So one of those boxes you can drag around, and you can just put it over on the right-hand side or something, or wherever you want to put it. And be able to use the fields that are in that post meta box to go in, fill out all the information that you need about the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're making just standard posts.
So that means that every episode has its own post, which means you can do the
show notes,
Bible post and the show notes and everything.
All those things. Yeah.
Oh, smarticles.
It's pretty nifty. I love it. I love it. It's good stuff. So yeah, the other ones were this one, and which is a Seriously Simple Podcasting. They updated that just 2 days ago, so I know that one's still good. I haven't tried any of these for a little while, but so there's that one, and then this one was updated about a month ago, and this is Podlove.
Podlove.
Yeah. I really like the one from Blueberry, and it just kind of works.
Just kind of works.
Yeah.
We have a low threshold of being pleased around here.
Right. It just needs to work. That's it. Yeah.
We do have a podcaster in our audience who's trying to be all incognito, named Adam Silver. Is he going to jump in? Usually jumps in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, Kevin. So I guess we could talk a little bit about this stuff. This is more of like the way in which people go and record the audio. So let me tell you a little story real quick. So I used to do a podcast called Geek Fit, and it was a health and fitness podcast that I did. Geez, it's been years and years ago. Obviously, it didn't work, but but GeekFit was recorded over Skype, and so we used this really great program. Oh darn! What's it? Is it? It's not called. No, it's not Skype.
Skype on a PC or on a Mac.
On a Mac.
It's called. No.
Yeah, it's made by Ecamm's call recorder.
I just said that.
Oh, I heard you say Skype recorder.
Ecamm Skype recorder, and Pamela's on the PC side. Yeah,
Pamela. Yeah. So those were the ones that we were using. This is to answer Kevin's question. So, so what we did is my buddy Steve was up in Washington. I was down here, and we recorded using this. And so call recorder is awesome because there's a bunch of ways that you can record stuff. You can record the video, you record just the audio. You can split it up so it'll record two different channels for you. So you'll get two different audio files. So let's say I'm talking and then Bridget coughs or something. I can totally clean that out because instead of it being one feed, one audio file, it's actually two different audio files, and you can then go and in post go and edit that audio out. So it's pretty awesome.
Post-production's overrated.
Right. I haven't done post-production in years. I just take the MP3 file and let whoever it is listening to it in the car just go, oh my gosh.
So. Plus, if you're doing it on this, it's already like super compressed.
Right.
Oh yeah. This
isn't fixable.
No.
I mean, I know that
not at all.
Denwood has a producer named Bill Conrad, and he does a pretty good job using the Blab audio and then fixes it. But you can only get so much out of this thing right here.
But then he has nothing. That's all he does all day. We all have other jobs.
Right, exactly. And see what they're doing is okay. So we just talked about this, and this is recording over the stream. I hate looking at the chat because I'm always saying the things that the people are saying, and it makes it sound like I'm not actually answering their questions. So yeah, you're recording that over the stream. So that's compressed and all of that. What Kevin was talking about is doing like a double ender. And so a double ender means that I'm recording on my end, he's recording on his end, or Bridget would be recording on your end. And then when we're done, you upload the file to me somehow, and then I take that file and then put them together, and then we now have a highly, no compression, no craziness audio file that sounds really good.
Yep.
Right. But the key is for people who are just listening, it's like video, you have to have a sync point. So you start off, you do snap, you say start here, and that way, if you have some type of sync point, you know where to line it up in the audio editing software.
Yeah. It's that whole, the clap thing or something like that. And that's why when we recorded...
That doesn't work, Bridget, by the way, because it's video.
Yeah.
I just do the hand motions. You missed the beginning where I said I want to learn the emergency exits, because when Jason Tucker just starts the show and he goes, everybody like and thumbs up and over there and tweet it out. And
exactly.
Southwest Airlines girl.
So I will say that by recording the video as well as the two different audio tracks, you can then kind of look and see what was happening and have a kind of a visual piece to figure out where things are at within that audio file and stuff. But you get really good at it. You can start cutting out ums and ahs and all that stuff. But you spend a lot of time doing that, you'll just never want to podcast ever again because it's awful.
Right. And for the record, as far as post-production goes, or the fact that when you're doing, I record Skype. I mean, if I do interviews for my show, I record via Skype through my laptop, and I have a mixer into an EdRAW. So I record to a WAV file, a third-party device, because a laptop can freeze, crash, you never know. Yep. So, but then I take that WAV file and I bring it into Adobe Audition. If there's a dropout for audio, so what I do when I record an interview, I'm hardwired first and foremost. I don't use Wi-Fi for me. So it takes that part of the equation. I have 75 up and down. If I'm interviewing you or either one, somebody else, and ideally they're not on Wi-Fi if they are, but it's less likely to be an issue. And I won't use video most of the time. I'll start with video just to say hi, but we'll turn it off because video takes a lot of bandwidth.
Oh yeah.
If there is a dropout, I do it. It's a dropout. It happens sometimes. If it's really bad, of course we fix it. Otherwise, I either cut it out or it's not so bad. And not to degrade or negate what we do as content providers or content creators, it's part of the equation. It's just a podcast,
right?
So I've lessened up. I've lightened my overall stress about like, oh no, just go with the flow.
Yeah.
To me, as a listener, it's more important that you use inflection.
Yes. Versus being very much like this, and oh my god.
Unless I want to listen to you in order to fall asleep.
Right.
Which
and audio needs to be. Audio does need to be decent. If it's bad audio, you will not have a listener. You have to have clean audio. So, I like it when I interview people who have great equipment. It makes it much easier to know how to do it. If they don't, they don't. If they have just, a headset like this is better than, built-in microphone.
Right.
So one step up. I know some other podcasters who will actually, when they do interviews, they will send the interviewee a microphone or a headset to use.
Yeah.
They Bluetooth. Here you go. You go to Skype, and then they send postage. Please send it to the next person. Just
How do they make sure that actually gets returned? I mean,
they just forward it. It just let's say I send it to you, Bridget. Here's a microphone or here's a headset.
Yeah.
And here's postage for the next person. Please send it to this address because they have it scheduled out, kind of thing.
Wow, I would never want to rely on some third party to do
it's
that.
It's not like it might be a $50 microphone, but
right. But at least it's consistent. It's going to be that sound. It's going to be that you have control over all of it. Wow. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I've never made money off my podcast, so I'm not going to go and do anything like that. But hey, why not?
Well,
I have sponsors now, so it's kind of cool.
Kevin brings up a good point about video shows versus an audio only podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And with video, you get all of this.
Right.
But
all this you can't watch you can't pay attention to this while you're doing dishes or folding laundry or in the car legally. I'm still a purist of the definition of a podcast being audio only.
Yep.
So even though I know WPwatercooler it's a podcast, but if the audio, because that's what it started as. It was audio, delayed audio on demand kind of thing.
Yep.
Our video podcast, is this in the podcast? Technically, no. This is a Blab video show.
Yep.
Yeah,
you take the audio away and you submit that to Stitcher or iTunes. That's the podcast to me.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's what you and Jason are in.
Yeah.
Think.
Yeah. So I wanted to introduce something else. So there's this tool called Mixler, and Mixler is kind of an online mixer that also takes care of the double ending or multi-ender type recording. So you could actually have multiple people on your show and record it. They get recorded locally, and then when the show's complete, it takes the file from your computer, automatically uploads it, so the person can be, you're interviewing somebody who's not a technical person at all. They have a computer that they interact with the Google, and that's all they do with it. They don't know anything else about the computer. You can at least get them to use Mixler so that they could, do the recording, do all that sort of stuff, get the audio file back up to you, and they didn't have to do anything, and it just kind of all happens.
It's fee-based.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fee-based, but it's well worth it if you're trying to get really high quality audio and stuff. But so they have a Windows version, a Mac version. They also have iOS and Android. So that's a cool thing. I haven't used it yet. I haven't had the opportunity to give it a try, but I've heard a lot of people have used it and they really, really like it.
And so they're hiring. A cool thing. And they're looking for people. So
exactly.
Interesting.
I mean, if that's really true.
Yeah.
No, they're hiring.
I'm not looking for a job. I'm talking about the actual thing. I have a job now. If that's actually true, then it could be more than just a podcast. That means you could literally record with somebody music.
Yep. And there's actually tools out there that do that too. That's made for music.
So awesome.
Yeah, the one that you're thinking about is this one, which is Soundation. That's a online studio building thing. There's a couple other ones too, but that one's a pretty nifty one.
Because what I've done before is just Dropbox a GarageBand file, and then they do their part in the GarageBand file.
Yeah.
Audio. So this is a question by James. Can we do that one?
Yeah.
Would you have any recommendations on audio only live stream of high school sports? They don't allow video. Well, why don't they allow video? I'm just curious.
They're minors.
Yeah.
You're a photographer. You know there's all those weird rules.
Retired.
Yeah, but still.
They still had kids back when you were younger.
Yeah. Hey now. Am I the oldest one in this room? Am I the oldest one in this room? I think I am. Anyway,
I'm 42.
I get you beat. All right. So if they don't want to, so James doesn't know, but when I was shooting video as a profession and photography, sporting events.
Well, I have a good solution for this.
Yeah,
so
use that new app.
Like he's Periscope.
So I've used this, which is live365.com, and they actually you essentially turn your podcast into a radio station. So if you're doing this on the regular, this would probably be a good way of doing this, is being able to do kind of live commentary and has audio mixing, has all sorts of really cool stuff in there. So you may want to take a look at that and see, how well that would work for you.
Work your Howard Cosell-ness. So
yeah, totally. And what's cool is if you want to play music, Live365 actually takes care of all the music licensing for you as well. So you don't have to worry about any of that. They actually have a player built into it, and they have partnerships and all that fun stuff. So you can totally use that and be able to have your music playing and be able to do all the things.
So wait, don't you use an audio app? There's some new audio app you're using.
Yeah, there's one called Anchor.
Anchor.
I played with that for a little while. I
use that to do it, or does it have a time limit on it?
It has a time limit. It's almost like Instagram for audio. So it's like it'd be like play by play, and you'd have to listen to like 7,000 of these things, throughout the whole game.
To the next episode to see if how high gets the next.
Exactly. So there's those things. There's other stuff too, but it's like audio streaming and that sort of stuff, which. We're talking about podcasts at this point, but yeah.
So that's not a radio show. Podcasts aren't live.
No.
Right. Yeah. Live doesn't count as a podcast because technically the definition of the podcast is, on demand delayed,
Yep.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
No, we don't really interrupt each other that much here. We do a lot of head nods and.
Well, it's funny because I wasn't looking. I was actually.
You can tell that it's not audio because we don't. As much as I talk, I try to be like, give us some space. No dead air. No dead air.
Let's see here. So what?
I'm just on the James thing. I'm trying to think of why maybe it's just the school doesn't have.
Yeah, but I think it's less about the why and more about the how can I.
How?
Yeah,
I get you. I know. I'm curious. It's got it. The how, yes, I get you. There's other. So live audio doesn't count as a podcast. You in theory, what you could do, I would suggest, find out, James. But I would suggest you could Periscope it. Don't show the video. Just pull in the audio through a Periscope and just tape over the camera.
Or do it so that you are the person in the frame.
Right, and especially if you're doing play-by-play for sports, that's actually you can do that as well.
Yeah.
There's also you can also do what's Leo Laporte use for his studio, but you can do audio only through like not ScreenFlow, but there's another company.
I can't remember because I haven't listened to Leo Laporte in a while.
Yeah, but most of those are just like CDNs. So they're just taking the audio file and pushing it out, and then the CDNs, Akamai and all those types of guys that are doing that stuff. So I wanted to kind of transition a little bit out of the idea of recording audio and all that because that has nothing to do with WordPress. You have the MP3 file. Yeah, but you have the MP3 file. You have all that stuff
on WordPress.
Right, exactly.
We're never really that far from WordPress.
It's true. Wherever
you are, WordPress is there.
So one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit is about the statistics stuff with a podcast. So I've used for many years a website called podtrack.com. And what Podtrack does is it's kind of like they don't have any of the social stuffs in there, so it's not working right. So Podtrack is cool because what they do is they are kind of they're a statistics company for being able to figure out how many people download your audio files and through the RSS feed and stuff. And the way they do that is you loop your URL through them. So say the URL is like tracking.podtrack.com / well, after that / you put in your URL to your website, to that MP3 file. So what ends up happening is the person goes and downloads that audio file. It goes to Podtrack first and says, hey, Podtrack, here's everything you should know about me. And it kind of shares, all the information about the download and whatever. And then when that's done, it then hands it off to whoever's hosting your MP3 file, and then it'll download it and go from there.
So it's kind of like the Pixel.
Yeah, exactly. So it Yep, and it's totally free, doesn't cost you anything, and if you want, they have a bunch of extra kind of cool features that you can get into as a publisher. Now, if you're an advertiser, you can also use them as a way of getting in and advertising on podcasts too. So companies like Serial, which was a pretty famous podcast, This American Life, yeah, those types of... Yep, those types of folks are the ones that use this, and they use it because it's been around forever and it just keeps getting better and better. Like I was talking about earlier, some of these other companies like Blueberry, they'll do the same type of stuff for you. If you're hosted through Blueberry, they'll even help you try to get advertising through them. So they're an advertising company as well. And so they'll use the stats that they collect as a way of being able to share with the advertiser, hey, here's how many downloads this guy has. You should totally advertise with them because, here's the market and whatnot. So,
oh my gosh, are there conferences that focus on podcasting?
There actually is.
In LA, there's LA Podfest. That's one of them that I know of because my sister is totally into all the comedy podcasts, which is why I'm listening to James Bonding, because she likes Matt Gorley and Matt, whatever his name is. And she listens to all those shows, and then she comes down for the Podfest in September. It's her
I actually
cap.
I actually ran this one, which was PodCamp SoCal. That was back in 2007. So it's been quite a few years ago.
What happened? Let's do it. Let's restart it.
Yep, that's kind of where it all started.
Let's start with a new website.
Yeah, my keynote speaker was Chris Brogan.
Oh, you got Chris Brogan?
Yeah.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah.
I know Chris.
You know Chris too?
I've been on his show once or twice. When he was doing a couple blabs, he's done some other hangouts and stuff. I've joined him on that. I've met him at a couple conferences. So in answer to my own question, the biggest show right now, the biggest conference is Podcast Movement.
Yeah. Podcast Movement.
So podcast. The conference there used to be a separate show, like a conference.
And New Media Expo. Yep.
And New Media Expo is kind of fizzled a bit, and so people from that, the core people from the podcasting track, started their own, and that's Jared Easley and Dan Franks and one other guy who I forget, like the third guy from Apple. We don't know his name.
The third guy from Apple. The former drummer of the Beatles.
Yeah, so the PodCamp that I did, that was tied into New Media Expo, which then became Podcast New Media Expo, which then became blah 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 blah. Right. So yeah,
and then what's his name? Cliff became the coordinator for that.
Yeah,
Cliff Ravenscraft. Well, I also know, and he has a course. He has a whole learning system of learning how to podcast. But then he stepped away last year because he was working on his health. So he's now doing some other stuff. And he's doing great with his health. So Cliff, if you're watching, but Podcast Movement is in Chicago this year. I think it's coming up in May or June. I don't know. I might go. I might not go.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I know how to hit record, and I know how to put it into an RSS feed, and I know how to get people to download it. I'm not trying to make this into a business, so I'm not going all crazy in on it. And I don't really want to because of this whole extra stuff that's involved in doing it. So if you're interested in that, cool, go for it. You should definitely do it. For me, it's more of like a lead gen type thing than anything else. I'll tell everybody else on.
Once again, it's part of a plan for marketing. There's no overnight,
Oh no.
You hear people making big money in the stuff. It takes, I mean, you guys know, you two know, I've been doing it now for
105 episodes.
110.
Oh, I'm behind. Shoot.
Yeah. Gosh.
I know. I'm such a slacker. I listen to Gary Vee.
Totally.
I listen to his YouTube show, but it does get turned into a podcast, so I'm not subscribing to that. I watch the show. If you miss all of this on Gary Vee's face, there's not. You have to watch him going like this, like what the F?
Yeah,
You miss everything if you don't see his face.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I'm behind on that. I'm behind on everything that's audio because I just can't have anybody talking. No talking.
Yeah. Yeah. So to those who think you're going to podcast and make bank immediately,
no,
unlikely. And truth be told, you don't want a large audience when you first start out, because if you listen to my episode 1, 2, and 3 compared to now, they're terrible. I mean, I had a good friend of mine listen to them recently, like about probably 6 months ago, whatever. She just started. She kind of binged a whole bunch and then she skipped, But she's like, wow, what a difference. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to start off with 10,000 downloads. You want to start off with 50 because you get some feedback and you get more comfortable in front of the microphone. You figure out your flow, figure out your workflow for posts.
How long before you got your intro down? Because I'm still working on that.
As far as like what I start with, it's what I say or the audio sequence.
Pre-scored thing.
Well, I've had that since the beginning.
You started that way.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I think my intro now is the funny thing is, so Dustin Hartzler, who's a friend of mine who has a podcast, as well, Your Website Engineer. When he hijacked my 100th episode, he took it upon himself to write out what I say. So he copied me. It was really funny. He didn't tell me any of this. We started hitting record, and he says. He mimicked me. It was actually really flattering and funny that he totally copied it. So
it's because it seems like everybody gets their 10-second elevator speech down.
Right.
I mean, I could do Jason's and probably Say Reed and a few other people.
Yeah, but I had a friend of mine who does audio production and mixing. I mean, I used to do some of that as a hobby. I knew what I wanted my opening sequence to be once I said, I'm going to do my podcast. We pick things from our childhood based on our interests. So I was a huge $6 Million Man fan. I still am.
I know it. So I knew it was $6 Million Man.
So that's my opening. My opening sequence has it. So it's my wife's voice, my voice, and then the $6 Million Man theme.
Oh my gosh! I just thought I'm too old to know this, but I love that. And I had the doll, and the bionic woman had the thing,
the arm and the eye. Oh, I mean, look, I'm old school. Look what I'm wearing today.
Yeah, I just love it when I figure things out. That's cool.
So, and actually, I get this. There's a fan of the show. Is it Alan? I think it's Alan Wrench. I saw him. Met him. He listens. He knows I like $6 Million Man. He came to WordCamp OC last year. Met me in person. It was great. And then he sent me a package. I think I can see him right there. Here, hold on. I'll watch this. I gotta share this with you guys real quick. He literally took it upon himself to go out and whoops. This is what he did. He sent this to me in the mail. I mean, this is like fan mail. Literally,
oh my gosh!
He sent me all these DVDs. I got DVDs.
No,
that's awesome.
The whole, the whole series on DVD.
I bet they're hilarious to watch.
Oh yeah,
like
they're on my Plex server. By the way,
one of the times I started watching Mission Impossible, the TV series on Netflix, the original one from like the '60s, where Barney hides inside of a computer because that's how big computers were. And he's like beating out the paper from the printer. It's hilarious.
One of my favorite movies of all time growing up was The Boy Who Was a Computer. I think it's Russell. What's Russell? Kurt Russell was in it. Saw that was in camp one day.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. But we digress.
Yep. Right. So I a while back I did a challenge.
Like the intro. Do you do an intro or do you just memorize your speech?
Oh, me? I just memorize it. It just happens. I don't even think about it. It just, the red light turns on and I'm like blah 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 blah. Oh boy. So
I have mine written out in answer to your question.
Oh really? Huh.
Well, I've shown it. So I use a program called Post Haste. It duplicates a folder every week for me. That way my outline is always the same. I put in my information based on an outline in the text document.
Nice.
That way it's just consistent,
Yeah.
Post Haste, and but I say this, welcome to the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. This episode blah blah blah.
Right.
And then I hit the music because I have the program I use is called Soundboard.
I
hit my opening in there, and it comes back, and I have my script, so I just say it. I don't have to think about it, etc.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I should do that because I never say it the same way every time.
I don't say it the same way every time on this because I want it to be different each episode. I don't want it to be the same thing. This time we didn't even play audio. It was like whatever,
We're chillaxing over here on Blab. We got an hour and a half. It doesn't have to be slick.
Exactly.
The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes by Kurt Russell, 1969.
Oh my
nice.
God. That's funny.
I saw that when I was probably 7, and it changed my life.
Wow.
That's awesome. Let's see here. So what was it? Oh, yeah. So let's see here. Back in February 2013, I started writing a bunch of blog posts to kind of take all of the stuff I know about podcast stuff and putting it out there. I did a challenge with Chris Lemma where he was like, you should just write a bunch of stuff. Take all the stuff you know and just write it. And at some point we'll turn it into a book or something. I was like, okay. So one of the posts I did was podcasting, doing it right the second time.
Oh,
and
funny.
The idea is that just like how Adam was saying, like your first episode's going to absolutely suck. Just going to suck. So you need to keep doing it right and keep playing with it and figuring it out. And you don't want to go too crazy because then you'll just sit there and try to record over and over and over again, perfecting something that's never going to get perfect until you get a couple, under your belt a bit and then be able to really, kind of get that thing going. So if you go over there and you can listen to the audio from episode 1 that I recorded of Geek Fit, which was way back in the day. And that was back in 2006. And so listening to that and listening to my friend and I kind of go through how we're going to do the podcast and stuff. So you can go check that out at your leisure if you like. But I've done a whole bunch of posts and stuff regarding, podcasting using WordPress. And I've, anytime somebody ever asks me about podcast stuff, I just go, hey, go to this website, go check it out and, see what's on there. So this is kind of like an archive of what I've ever done regarding podcasts.
Yeah. Plus you did a talk at WordCamp, Orange County.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I would have seen it, except I think I was talking at the same time.
Fortunately
really?
For everybody else, the home audience, it's available on WordPress.tv and probably soon on their YouTube channel.
There's WordPress.tv?
There is.
Yeah. No, seriously, Adam, because at WordPress Day, at WordPress Day for NTC, one lady said, well, there's no WordCamp, so how do I learn this stuff? And even the speaker didn't say WordPress.tv. Oh, how cool! You could play it.
You could totally play it. Blab, you're crazy.
Oh, look, there's Dave Markowski.
Yeah. So you know what people do during the day now on Blab? Just the fact that you can do this now, people go to Blab and they bring in another feed of something else. They just have that playing on Blab during the day now.
They blab a blab?
They blab a video.
It would be
cool.
I
thought they blab a blab because then it could just be like blabception.
Yeah.
And you have blabs do blabbing of blabs.
What would be really
I'm totally good. Blabception.
And then you paused it, made commentary.
Yep.
That could be controversial stuff.
Another one that I talked about was at WordCamp Phoenix 2013, where I talked about a bunch of video streaming stuff and how I did that for our local WordPress meetup. So you can go take a look at those too.
Hey,
have you talked at all, Adam, about any podcast stuff on
my meetup?
Yeah, no, on that's on WordPress TV.
I have not. I submitted one for San Diego. It wasn't picked. I'm actually speaking of something totally. I'm doing page builders.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've submitted a podcasting one, an outline for one for a few WordCamps this year, and it hasn't been picked yet, which is fine because I haven't written it yet.
Well, that's good.
I can. I mean,
right.
But I have the based on the title, like I can write that. Obviously, hasn't happened. I was asked actually just yesterday to do a seminar at SBDC because I did my WordPress for Business seminar last night for 2 hours, and then based on that, because they heard I did a podcast, so there's a request now from SBDC possibly for me to do a seminar on podcasting.
Very cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we'll see.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then the South Bay Adult School where I live here and teach, we try to do a class, and there's interest, but the adult school brings an older audience or a clientele, if you will. And so we got to have enough people to make it a go for financially. So we need 7 or 8, and then there's like 3 or 4. So that it has.
Grandpa, have you ever wanted to be the Shadow?
No,
we could totally recreate the audio from that series. It's going to be amazing.
Okay, but you brought up a good point. See, I have insight into another generation since my husband's 36 years older than I.
Yep.
So he's 79, and he.
Wait, hold on. He's how much older than you?
36 years. My grandchildren are 22 and 25 years old. My stepchildren are older than me. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, we fell in love. It wasn't logical. So, but anyway, 23 years in June of marriage. So here's the thing. He grew up with only radio. Yeah. And The Shadow was one of his favorite shows. And so the older generation is good at storytelling. So actually, I keep wanting to get him to do more video because, well, he's a pastor too, but he's very good at storytelling. I mean, at the actual using your voice to in your inflection, to emphasize a point and stuff like that, because he grew up in that age of radio.
Yeah.
Very good at storytelling.
Does he call them movies, or does he call them talkies these days?
That's funny.
Thank you.
If you want to listen to some
he
good,
calls it a flick.
I was waiting weeks to use that line somewhere.
Yeah.
My dad's 85. I get it.
If you guys want to listen to some good audio stuff, there's a guy, Ron Plouffe, who lives in Orange County. He used to be in my meetup that I used to do for WordPress meetup or podcast meetup. Oh my gosh, podcast meetup. And he did a show called Griddle Cakes Radio, and you should check it out. He's been doing podcasting stuff longer than me by I think about a year or two, and he's just awesome guy. And his audio stuff, he's been doing this for a long time. So if you really like storytelling, he's an awesome storyteller, and he even has like a couple little voices that he does and stuff, which is pretty amazing. So you should go check that out.
It's funny. Someone asked me recently, I was like, when I started, I started podcasting 2 years ago. I've been listening to podcasts from day one, like probably from 2000. I started in Colorado. I'd have to go 2005 or 6. The first show I ever listened to was the Photoshop guys.
Ah, yeah.
And then they went to video, and they had a small little round table and a white wall.
Uh-huh.
And I met Scott Kelby at a conference at Photoshop
World. And now it's like this huge thing.
They have this amazing, enterprise, and he's built a studio in Florida. He has like 4 or 5 sets. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing. So yeah, again, it's just a matter of putting in the time.
Yeah.
And offering value to your audience. So.
Exactly.
It's good for anybody that can teach, and I just feel like the older generation has a lot to offer. So it's too bad they're not doing it more. They don't have to type or anything. They just have to talk. Somebody just has to set it up.
Another guy who I used to listen to quite a bit was DJ Steve Boy. He used to do a show. I don't know if he still does it or not, but it's called Podrunner. And he would do it's mixes for running. So you could actually download the audio and listen to it, and then while you're running, he will tell you what the RPMs are and blah blah blah, or BPMs are and all that. So cool stuff. So yeah, people got really creative and really crazy really fast using podcasting.
Yeah. There's a lot of different avenues you can go down. Paid podcasts, or some free, some paid content, and now people are using instead of using the paid content, they're funding it via Patreon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business aspects to it, not just creative, but but Bridget, when you said you think it's great for teaching, I think it is, but I think there's also something to be said about in person. I think there's it's good for some stuff, not the best for others. So.
Oh, right. Well, not to learn PHP or something.
No.
I just mean like concept.
Yeah. Concept. Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing is, anytime you talk about any of this stuff, what ends up happening is that people want to know like instantly, how do I take the dollars from people and give them content like instantly? That's what they want. Right. And so you can do that with podcasts, and you can do that using PowerPress if you want to. There's documentation on how to do it using membership plugins and all that sort of stuff. So if you want to do what they called or used to call premium podcasting, you can totally do that, and go check that out.
Right, so here's a question.
Roy, but it's not.
Roy. Hey, Roy.
Hey, Roy. You know what, Roy? You should hop on and talk about it right now. Maybe I'll answer your question.
For serious, though, Roy,
format.
Roy has a good point. How do you know when to change your format? But we do take questions, and we're taking your question right now. Sorry, but actually, one of our listeners gave us some feedback. Hi, Roy. Hashtag. Hi, Roy.
Roy, congratulations. I haven't seen you since.
Mazel tov, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Roy.
You're welcome, man.
The man from the house with the mouse.
Yep. To your left hand. High five. To the left.
Well, it's.
Uh-oh. Oh, man.
Twitter. Where's the wife's Twitter? Let's make this happen.
Well, you can't have your ring on when you're working on computers. I'm sure you're
actually, you can. You can totally get one of these. It's a squishy one.
I'm not allowed to have that. For the first year, due to tradition, I have to have a gold solid metal band.
Right. No holes, no stones.
Adam Jew gets me.
Okay.
Oi.
And mazel tov to you, Adam. I saw you had a bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
Well, mine was back a long time ago.
Wow, Adam. It took this long. It's a little bit on delay or what?
My sons, yes. Thank you, boy.
Very cool, very cool.
But seriously,
let's answer your question.
We did have a faithful listener kind of say, well, I like your show and I like the questions, but maybe you need a topic to kind of drive the questions. So that's what we did. That's how we knew.
Have you guys ever experimented with days too? Maybe not for Blab, since you guys have always been Thursday nights, but Jason, you've always been Mondays, and Adam, you're always kind of. Have you guys ever switched up your days? Because we just switched up our day on WP Crowd, and our views have plummeted.
Okay, I have two things to say. Number one, Jason Tucker.
I was waiting for you to tell me this great thing I should have done.
No,
sorry, Bridget.
No,
continue.
I knew this was coming because I'm going to tell you something. Well, first of all, with us, this is the only day that two of us could do it every single week. Okay, so that's how that worked out.
That's how we switched ours too.
But Roy, like I've said before, and I'll say it 1,000 times more, Friday, and I love you guys, and you make my Friday worth having, but Friday is where content goes to die.
We're not going back to that, are we?
It's still true.
Oh boy!
Unless you're in real estate.
9 a.m. as well, right, Roy? 9 a.m.
Well, it used to be
I have a lot of East Coasters, so
we do too. But it's so far east that they hop on and they're just waking up in the morning. And they're like, "Dude, hey, all right, I'll hop in here and say hi."
Good morning to you. What time is it in London?
So, Roy, is your show live?
Yeah.
That's the difference. The difference is the live versus the podcast, which is scheduled.
So
my show is Monday, every Monday, period.
Roy,
I
record on
Saturday. I wish
Sunday.
I had the time to record and edit. I totally would, but I have no time. I barely have time to start Hangout and hang out.
So how about this, Roy? You can make it so that when the show's done recording, that it goes into draft mode. And then you can schedule the release of it on whatever day at whatever time you want, and no one knows any different.
Could you do that with the Hangouts on there?
Yeah, you totally can.
Yeah.
So what you do is you set up the Hangout, and you get that all going just through the normal Hangout interface. Then go into YouTube, go to the live section under the Creator Studio, and then you just go in there and you just turn on the setting there so that when it's done recording, to automatically drop it into a draft mode. Then you can put all your notes in there and do all your stuff and all of that. And then once it goes live, it'll be in HD quality, so you're not waiting for it to kind of go and get all transcoded and blah, blah, blah. Right. And then you'll also have all the notes. You'll also have all of the, all the stuff, all the extra stuff. And so what you'll do is just tell everybody, hey, guys, so we're going to take next week off, and that's it. And so then you just take next week off, and really you just release it whatever day you want.
Right. I mean, I always tell
just
people
as long as you don't release at 11 o'clock on Monday morning, then we should be okay. Because I might have to kill you.
I'm at 3 a.m. Pacific Mondays, so 6 a.m. Eastern, and then I wake up in the morning and I do my tweeting and my blog. I do all the social media live, like in the morning when I wake up, and I spread that over a day, like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, different channels. But I tell people the same as blogging: if you're going to do it, be consistent. You know, because that's what people want, especially with audio. People, I was late, I think in the episodes, all the episodes I've had twice, because I forgot to check podcasts for my category, so it didn't get to iTunes. And I only found this out because it was fine on the website, but it didn't go to the RSS feed. And Dustin sent me a message, it's like, hey, where's the podcast? And I got 2 messages, one from Dustin, one from a listener, because people come to rely on the show at that time.
Yeah.
It's totally true.
So, you know, if you don't do it, if you don't let them know it's not going to happen, I've never taken a week off. If I travel, I'll record midweek, but usually I record Saturday, Sunday. It takes me less than that. I record, edit, and post show notes in an hour.
Right.
That's it. I mean, it used to take me 4 hours. Now I'm down to 1 hour.
I have robots that do mine.
So you're a 15-minute show, and it takes you 4 times longer to have it produced.
Well, tops, because it used to even take me longer. I used to take a lot of time picking artwork, and now I'm quick, and I have a template for that in Photoshop, and also I do spend some other time during the week researching like my topic and pulling some notes. It depends on the topic, but yeah, I mean, I record in real time. I edit it in 5-10 minutes because I just cut out some couple things.
My name is Adam, and I'm. You're not recording in real time. You're recording slower.
Oh, thank you. I'm like, what?
What's funny is Roy's not even reacting at all.
What's up with that, Roy?
No, but here's the thing, Roy. Our show.
Slow. Write down. Talk slow.
Our show was a question and answer show. So question and answer shows need
questions. Because we got answers all day. I can give you an answer. It's going to be wrong or right. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to give you an answer.
Without a topic means Jason and Bridget are talking about whatever they want to for an hour and a half until somebody shows up. You have scheduled guests and a scheduled topic, and it doesn't need the audience. So I would record whenever you want to and release it whenever you want to because it's still on YouTube.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, you could do what he said and make it super complicated, or you could just release it into the world.
It wasn't complicated. That's how all of the YouTubers do it. So here, Roy,
it was literally like 2 lines of notes. Just
Roy, I'll tell you a little secret though.
Post a draft.
The reason why consistent YouTubers release at the exact same time every single day is because most of the YouTubers that have a lot of subscribers and stuff, they'll tell their subscribers, look, go and tap on the little bell on your phone in YouTube to notify you when my show gets released, so that way you can listen to it. And I know people do it because people go, "Oh, my phone went off at 11:30," and they're like, "Oh," because it got released instantly right there, and they're like, "Oh, perfect, I could go and listen to it."
Yeah,
or watch it or whatever.
The key is consistency. I mean, I just tell people, if you're going to blog consistently. If you're going to podcast, be consistent. If you're going to whatever your method of producing content, don't force it. Ideally, have passion behind it, and just have some depth to.
I think we've only missed three weeks out of the 3 years that we've been doing Watercooler.
Watercooler, yeah.
And one of them, I missed one day. Like, there's one episode why I'm not on it.
Well, see, in your case, though, your show is when you have a show that is a panel, it's easier to have people come and go.
Yeah.
When you're hosting a show by yourself, like my show, I can't have someone else do my show. Right. I had Dustin take over one. That's different, but I was still on it. That's the hard part.
It's harder and easier. Like with the panel, you have to find the panel.
Right.
Watercooler always has like 100 people lined up, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Like, and they'll all get on at the same time if they could.
Right.
Yeah, but you have like 27 people in your crowd. You have a pretty big crowd.
But not everyone wants to talk about everything. So I gotta figure out the topic, and then I gotta see, all right, which people in the crowd can do it on that, can do it, and then do they even want to talk about it? I got regulars, which is fine, which is awesome. Yeah. Like, I got some good regulars, but yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like me and one other person, and I'm just like pulling teeth. Like, yeah, let's talk about marketing and SEO. Yeah.
No.
I was on a regular.
Hit me up, yo. I will fill it in. Anytime you just need somebody to fill in dead space, especially if you want to talk about marketing, you know how to find me, bro.
Well, we just did one last week was sponsored content marketing, which I find really interesting. But yeah, I only got one other person to get on, and he's like done it before, and I'm just like, oh, great, experts.
Well, here's the thing.
What's the thing, Bridget?
With my love toward everybody I know, major love, that's my disclaimer. Just because you can make a plugin doesn't mean that you're good at marketing.
Mm. Oh, I know. I know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wait. What?
Wait, because I thought because I can code, I can also market. I thought that was like. I
heard coders are the best people at being able to collect money from their customers. That one's a pretty good one too.
WP marketing function that I can just run like marketing.
PHP $ parentheses get _.
There's a global variable just called profit, and I just do
profit.
Plus.
I think it's an API.
It's an array.
It's an array.
And I just keep pushing that array one after another.
No,
well, that's what works, and it's translatable, so in case you know different currencies.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, sponsor.
I'm starting a new blab. I'm gonna do PP my admin blab.
Yeah,
my admin.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's just a tricky thing. There's a lot to marketing. Like, I'm not good at the advertising part. Like, so that's why we have Jason Canill, our CEO. He's the pay-per-click master. Whereas to me, it's like, what? You're bidding on keywords? That looks like the stock market. Just give me Twitter.
One of these days, I'm going to just start charging you guys, you know. Because like every other one of our episodes is, hey, Give is an awesome plugin. Here's some people who use Give.
Me too. And I'm like, here's my PayPal. Let's make this happen.
We're about to hit our 1 year, so it's kind of exciting.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point does Give become Gave?
Oh my God, that's funny. I hope never, since I worked there. Oh, man.
Oh, she's asking us what our topic is. We had a topic at some point. What happened?
Our topic is...
we get two podcasters on the show, and then the whole thing goes out of whack, and none of us are talking about podcasting.
No, we did.
You should definitely watch the WP crowd. That's what we're talking about.
So do you guys also do your podcast or your show as a podcast? Like it's a downloadable format too, or is it just YouTube and that's it? Roy?
Oh, only YouTube for now. Again, the whole like time thing is on my side.
Yeah, I do about 6 hours every time I do WPwatercooler. It takes about 6 hours to do the entire thing front to back.
I spend about a half an hour Monday picking out a topic, and then about an hour on Friday. No, not even, about 45 minutes on Friday. That's including the half an hour podcast. That's all the time I put into it.
The Sundays are always crazy because we're always tracking down people to be on the show and all of that stuff. It's kind of like I run a headhunting firm as well as a podcast, you know. So we're always trying to find the right people to be on and all of that stuff, and getting out all the mailing lists and all of the tweets and posts and updates and
and that's why you have a lot more viewers than I do. I just do it for the fun of it. I don't really like. There's two reasons I do it. For the fun of it, and then the reason I wanted to buy an expensive microphone. Like, just for shits and giggles. So I was like, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, but if it's not fun anymore, then your show will degrade, whether it's not
fun. I don't care if 5 people watch it. It's still fun.
Right.
I mean,
I haven't looked at my stats in a while. I haven't looked at...
Like, I have the live chat. No one ever uses the live chat, but I have it. I still put it on every single show. And I have to set that up for every single show.
We had a live chat and people kept talking on it, and no one watched it on the show. Like all the panelists, none of them were watching it. So they're like, so is there a chat? And I'm like, yeah, it's that one that's in Google Hangout. And they're like, well, what about the one that everybody else is watching? I'm like, well, look at that. Are you kidding me? Yeah. If we did that, we would never be on, well, we're never on topic, but we would never actually get the show done.
You said it, not me.
Well, so, yeah. I watch it on YouTube, and then when I tweet things out,
late.
People can still see the actual video, not go to that weird. That's the thing I like about the Blab, is that it's not some weird-looking user interface. I love Google Plus. I'm just saying that weird Hangout page is just bizarre.
Uses Google? I mean, I use Google Plus to set up the Hangout, but no one ever actually goes to the Google Plus.
I have bookmarks. Page. All my bookmarks are set up to go to all the things I need to do on Google, and that's it. I don't do anything else on Google Plus.
Somebody added me to their circle last week. I'm like, really? That's still a thing?
Bridget, did you add him again?
Probably. But I only use my main Gmail because I'm not doing it for every address. That's not happening.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I post everything from my own profile because
I go charge my laptop.
Google Plus is lava. Yep, that's totally true.
Well, Google Plus helps. It does. And until they dismantle it, I'm going to use it.
They're putting a whole bunch of new money into it. Like one of the Twitter execs just moved over to Google Plus. They want to
wasn't it the guy from 4chan? Didn't they just hire him or something?
Yeah, you're right.
Because that's going to be great.
Yes, Google Plus and 4chan.
Yeah, I feel
back at it again.
Yeah.
I always
it's like a dynamic duo.
Apple and Google are my divorced parents vying for my loyalty because I love them both for different reasons, and I just want Google Plus to be better now. I feel like it's the underdog, but
one buys you candy and the other one takes you to the movies. So it's like, which one are you going to use?
I know.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard.
The nanny buys candy at the movie.
I think you can work the synergy of them together.
Yeah, I mean, I use Google Maps. I'm not letting Siri get me lost. I do that on my own.
Do you use Google Map or Gmaps Pro?
No, I didn't even know there was a Pro. Oh,
woo!
Where's Matt when you need him?
Oh, Map Builder Pro.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Whatever.
I don't use it for myself because I don't have any reason to use a map on BridgetWillard.com.
No, because I don't use Apple Calendar. I use Google Calendar, and it's
Bridget. Now that you're replaced, Bridget, you should definitely have it set up.
Well, I use Google Calendar, but I use
your Facebook place now.
But I use Apple Calendar to see my interface, but I use Google Calendar as the centerpiece because Apple Cal, iCal, and syncing was always terrible and sharing.
Yeah,
right. It's terrible.
So I use Google's our sensor, our hub for the family calendar, but I use my Mac calendar to subscribe to it.
Apple does a really good job of subscribing to the Google stuff. So
really
good.
And Google just did a better job initially of having it shareable and have other people have access and edit it. So my wife and I could actually share a calendar and make changes at the same time.
Exactly.
This is totally podcast related.
So since we have I want to wrap this up by 9 o'clock. So I want to pick up the train real quick. I want to put it back on the track real fast. Has nothing to do with WordPress per se, but has everything to do with the consuming the content. What do you guys use to listen to podcasts?
Oh, I switched.
iTunes.
When they switched iTunes most recently, it just annoyed the hell out of me. So I had to make the switch. And I'm using what am I using? Overcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, I switched, which I didn't like. I still don't love.
Oh, I love Overcast.
Hold on, let me see. Hold on one second. Let me check what I have. Hold on a second.
Ooh, it's awesome. There's Dradcast right there. See it? It's right there.
Yep, Dradcast. That's another good one. We have really good audio on Dradcast.
There's this water cooler one that's down there. See it? There's water cooler.
Yeah, I use Overcast as well, and I don't love it. I love the last version of iTunes, but
ooh, see, look at that! Check that out.
That's good. Yeah, I had the same one. Yeah.
Okay, it's all my show notes in there. It does all the things. Look, it even has people's pictures in there. See? Yeah,
Mastermind.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love green guide letters, James Bonding. I do love green guide letters.
So what I like about Overcast is this feature right here. This is the best feature ever. So what you can do, I'll try this out real quick so you guys will freak out. Episode number 182. Today's topic is graduating from Squarespace to WordPress. Go around real quick to get everyone introduced. On the far left-hand side, in alphabetical order, Brian Hogg. Brian, please tell us all about you. Good day. I am the author of the event calendar newsletter, organizer of WordCamp Hamilton. So hear how fast that was? It was just like ridiculously fast, right?
How do you like?
You don't.
So you don't listen to that. So that was, you can change it. See on the bottom there where it has like speed. So what I usually do is I bump it up 1 or 2. That's it. 1 or 2 and that's it. But there's also a thing up on the top here that says smart speed. See where it says smart speed right up there? Mm-hmm. So if you turn on smart speed, what it does is it cuts out all of the silences and kind of compresses it down a little bit.
But it doesn't change, but it won't modulate. It doesn't change the effect of the voice necessarily, which is nice.
Right.
Yeah, when I meet people in person who I listen to their podcasts, I literally say this, I'm like, can you speak faster? Because, in reality, we speak what we speak. We take pauses, we talk, we go back and forth. And when I hear somebody who I've never met if I meet them in person, I've never met them before, I've spoken to them, I just hear them, I'm like, you're talking too slow.
Hurry the heck up, dude.
But I've learned, though, I can't listen to people with the British accent faster because they're the accent is already compressed.
Right.
Based on the glottal stop. It's true like that. I'm telling you the truth.
Right.
So in their case, you have to make it about 1x. You can't go to 2x.
You need to go backwards. It needs to slow down.
Yeah, it's tough.
But here you go, Adam. At least you recognize them.
Oh, yes.
As opposed to me not recognizing somebody on a video podcast that I spent all day with.
Who?
Mr. Kyle Maurer.
Oh, dope.
Oh, you're the real guy?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
No, I'm smart like that. I'm so smart.
But so I use Overcast. The last version of iTunes, just when they switched it, they blew it. I used to love the iTunes app. It was bad. It was good. It was good. But the last version, I just don't like what they did with it. So, yeah. Anyway,
so
I can listen to it on my car. That's what I like.
There was a few other things that that somebody was telling me to talk about. Yeah, here it is right here. So there's this tool here called YT Podcaster. So let's say, for instance, you really like Roy's show, and Roy's too lazy to make a podcast out of it. What you could do is you could actually take the YouTube URL and stick it in here, and then it'll spit out an MP3 file for you, and you could subscribe to it and turn it into a podcast. Right. So you could do that.
I'm just gonna have all my listeners just do that because that's just way less time on my part.
Yeah, hey, everyone, you do the work and then send me money. Support me on Patreon.
Right. Because I did all the work of setting this up.
So instead of doing all of that, we do other things. So we spend our time building out plugins for people, and we have our current WordPress typo donation going on right now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
If anyone sees WordPress mistyped, feel free to submit it. We'll donate $1 on your behalf.
Oh, nice.
Without the capital P. That's what he means.
Yeah. Or any other WordPress misspelling. I'm getting some really funny ones and some shocking companies misspelling WordPress.
My favorite is, so I'll be honest and I'll tell you the favorite. So my honesty is I had in my signature file a mistake way back. I fixed it. But then also I see people post for jobs and they're an agency looking for a WordPress developer. We are WordPress. We have so much work. They don't know how to spell the damn word.
I could be autocorrect, but still, I have been known to miss an S, and I did misspell the P on a graphic, which is a pain in the ass because here's the thing. When you're doing artwork,
here's the thing. Just let me explain this.
And on Twitter, you can't force it to fetch the scrape information. So it's stuck there. You could just read Bitly it. It's forever on Twitter, but
we're donating up to $500. One is to Code Now, which is a coding for kids nonprofit. And then we're taking the 2 gift stories we've had on our podcast and letting you select if you want to choose between one of those 2.
Nice.
Adopt Parker and 2 to 5 overnight.
2 to 5. Yeah, Mark B's give.
Yeah, Tilt the Attic, yeah. Yeah, back in November, December, if anyone bought Desktop Server through my affiliate link, I took my affiliate commission and I matched it and I donated it back to him.
Very cool.
Cool.
So I didn't need the extra 100. What I made, whatever it was, $50-$60. I had some affiliates buy through me. I didn't need it as badly as he did, so it wasn't a big deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I started at Thanksgiving, and then I continued it the entire month of December. So that people bought. It didn't matter who, when it came in. So once the end of the month happened, I did a calculation. I donated back, so it didn't matter. Yeah. Oh, then right now, so it's all about this, right?
Yeah. See, he gave.
I gave.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about doing a series of WordPress people on their generosity.
Yeah.
That's something I think would be a good stories. Because everybody seems to be so generous.
Yeah.
I mean, as opposed to the rest of the world. Oh my God.
Except for when compared to those Drupal people.
Oh my God. I don't know any Drupal people. I'm just saying.
That's the whole point, because they're not giving.
Oh my God.
They don't want you to know who they are.
Oh man.
Real quick, James had a topic potentially for the future, if you guys want to talk about it, but mastermind groups. But I want to mention one thing. Masterminds are awesome. Oh, that's the timer.
Dinner's ready.
Without a mastermind that I used to be a part of last year, my podcast would not exist. So if you want to be held accountable, definitely mention something to somebody, find an accountability partner. If you want to launch a podcast, launch anything, do accountability. It helps huge. Without my mastermind that I had for about 3 or 4 months after New Media Expo, 2.5 years ago, my podcast wouldn't exist. Simple as that. So that's why I have to say.
Having co-host helps too, right?
Totally.
You can, in theory.
Yes, co-hosting or someone else to take responsibility every once in a while.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yep.
All right, I got to go. It's 9 o'clock.
Sounds good.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
All right.
How do I hang up?
Bridget, you get to be the one that closes out the show today. How about that?
I'm gonna listen to this.
You need to do a vocal rest.
Do you want music?
Okay, everybody, thanks for watching. And please, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and click the thumbs up button and subscribe, and then share and tell all your friends on Twitter about how awesome WPblab was. If you start a podcast, share it in the comments, because we'd love to listen to it. Also, don't forget that we have a show at 11 o'clock Pacific time called WPwatercooler, where it's 5 to 10 guests telling you everything you always wanted to know about WordPress, but were afraid to ask. Okay, folks, that's it. Jason Tucker, where can everyone find you?
Bye!
Done.